All right, we're live.
Hello and welcome to the RDU Buzz, where we talk about all things Raleigh and Durham developments, news, restaurants, all the different things. Today we're going to be digging into some cool topics around the Raleigh-Durham area, probably the most exciting of which revolving around the Apple campus that was announced like 4 years ago, and there's still been crickets. So we're going to dig into that a little bit today, and then a lot of other things. And then we'd love to answer any questions you guys have as you're watching. So as you are tuning in, we love to also hear where you're watching from. So feel free in the chat to drop where you're watching from. We love to learn about that. And then if you have questions, even if they're not related to the topic we are currently talking about, but they're related to the Raleigh-Durham area, feel free to shoot those and we'll get them answered for you today, for sure. Or in the comments once this is replayed later.
And I hope y'all had a good Thanksgiving as well. So,
yes.
And I just realized my son was helping me set up the studio and he took off one of the bolts.
Oh.
And so my microphone might fall
He's
apart
3.
midway
He's
through.
super helpful.
So anyway, we'll dig in. I think the story I want to start with tonight is the Research Triangle Park one. So I'm going to share an article from Axios. So this is something that's been in the works for really a very long time. It was first discussed, I think, sometime last year when the Research Triangle Park. So if you don't know what the Research Triangle Park is, it's a large corporate park here in our region. Most of it is in Durham County. A small sliver of it is in Wake County. And it houses hundreds of companies within our region.
Yeah.
It's
a lot of like
the largest
biomedical tech, like pharmaceutical type.
Yeah,
type
it's
jobs,
the largest
places.
it's the largest research hub of its kind in the country. So it's obviously it's really important for our region. But long story short, the Research Triangle Park is 7,000 acres, which is just insane. I mean, that is such an enormous amount of space. And there were various covenants in place that the Research Triangle Park had in place. And oh, by the way, we got Stephen joining in from Cary, just relocated from Portugal.
Wow,
that's awesome.
Welcome.
Yeah,
Very
welcome.
Cool.
Welcome. Very cool. So the Research Triangle Park had all these covenants in place, basically restricting the use of the land within the park. Those covenants were adjusted by the Research or Triangle Park. I don't know what they call themselves, but basically the governing body over over that district. But what also needed to take place was each county needed to revise their zoning laws. And so Wake County revised theirs a while ago, and Durham County just had their vote. So if you've seen like the Research Triangle Park, RTP 3.0, those kinds of things in the news, that's because Durham was really the last domino to fall in this transformation of the Research Triangle Park. So they changed their zoning laws, and essentially what is going to happen, because obviously 7,000 acres is a lot of space. If you've ever driven through the Research Triangle Park, it's not what I think people think of when they think of like a tech hub.
I feel like you probably think like, oh, it's going to be like
futuristic feeling.
Futuristic, or like New York, like really crowded and like a lot of things next to each other. But it really feels like really wooded, and it's not beautiful actually, like driving through it. It is really, it is very wooded right now.
But there's a statistic. So of those 7,000 acres, I think it's and we're going to do a video on this soon. A deep dive into it, but I want to say 20% of the 7,000 acres is parking lots.
Wow.
And there's such a work from home culture kind of within the tech industry that those parking lots are underutilized. And so essentially what everyone is trying to do is we have 7,000 acres of prime located land within our region. It's not on the outskirts. You don't have to drive to like a far away suburb of the larger cities. So how do we redevelop this land, or better yet, encourage the private owners who own the land? Because obviously, the Research Triangle Park doesn't own it, or Durham County doesn't own it or anything like that. But how do we encourage these companies to start developing this land for housing or whatever it is, various commercial spaces that are needed for the region? And so that's what the Research Triangle Park, the RTP 3.0 is. And that's essentially Durham County was the last hurdle. They had to approve the zoning changes. They did. And so now that process can begin. And I think the vision, from what I read, the vision is, because obviously they're building this place called the Hub, and it's this big, extravagant, you know, multi-use development, which is kind of like the new popular thing for people to build. But the goal is to kind of really have like multiple little hubs kind of throughout, as well as some type of housing. And kind of like the vision is the people who work in the Research Triangle Park could actually live in the Research Triangle
Which
Park
would
and like
be
walk to work,
awesome.
which is kind of cool.
Because I think it would encourage people to get back into the office, which, I mean, I guess I don't, our job isn't one that you can really work from home, but I do feel like in general, I think like mental health and stuff like that, I think it's important to like actually, you know, interact with people not on a screen sometimes. It's not necessary for like maybe 40 hours a week. Yeah. Yeah. But you know, I think there is some beauty in like actually walking in and like, you know, having community with your coworkers. So I think that's nice. And then the times that maybe you do have to come in for a face-to-face meeting, at least you could maybe just like, maybe it actually makes sense to like take a bus there or something. Whereas like right now, depending on where you live, it probably doesn't make a ton of sense to not just go in and drive. So I'm really excited about it. And I think even more so excited for more like commercial things like, you know, stores and restaurants to like come into the scene. One of my favorite restaurants in Durham is the Glass House Kitchen, which is in RTP. It's one of the few restaurants in RTP. So I'm excited to see more spaces like that hopefully open up so that people that are in work there have more options for like going to get lunch or grab dinner and just be able to live there. I think that's really cool. So it feels like we're on like this precipice of almost like a new town being created within the triangle in a way.
7,000 acres is substantial. And obviously companies own like all of that. And so obviously like you know, Cisco's not going to bulldoze their campus and build housing, right? Like, I mean, only so much of that's actually going to be developed for these uses. But the problem has been the aspects or the pieces of land that could be developed couldn't be because of zoning laws and various covenants and restrictions in place. And now that's freeing up. So which is cool.
It's exciting. I'm excited to see it come. Yeah, there's a picture you can kind of see of the first section of the hub. So last time I drove through there, it was like really nothing was really like up yet. So
when was that?
It's been a while since I've passed.
I was going to say I passed it not long ago.
It was probably like over a year ago that I drove by it. But it's
changed a lot.
It was not in this state, so this is cool to like see some pictures and see more of like what it's going to be like.
So speaking of the Research Triangle Park, one thing that the Research Triangle Park's been on the map for a long time, but one thing that really put it on the map, especially nationwide, was Apple's commitment to open up a campus on the Research Triangle Park or in the Research Triangle Park.
Yeah, which was like the biggest news ever.
It was
in
huge
2021 when they announced it. It was like
it was
huge.
massive.
This was going to be like their East Coast hub, and it was a really big deal.
And nothing's come to fruition.
It was coming to the Triangle. Like there was so many, you know, there was such a fight from all of these different towns and states to like become the East Coast hub, and we got it. And now it's like, what next? It's just been like crickets for so
it has
long.
well they requested or they announced a delay last year. I think
about
it was last
a year ago, a year and a half.
And anyway, so this is and just so you know where it's located. So in the Research Triangle Park, I know I said there's Durham County and then there's Wake County. Wake County, the small sliver of Wake County, is where the Apple campus is going to be located. So this deadline that Apple is requesting to be pushed back. So when Apple was when they announced that they were coming to the area, obviously North Carolina gave them an enormous amount of incentives for this. I think it was like $800 million or something along those lines. Like it was a substantial incentive. But those incentives were tied to various benchmarks Apple had to accomplish with, you know, they had to hire a certain number of people, or they had to, you know, obviously build a campus or something along those lines. What Apple is requesting is that those incentives, those deadlines tied to them getting those incentives, be delayed as well. So that's a recent development where Apple's come out and said, hey, can we push these back?
And not delayed a little bit.
Well, for 4 years.
For 4 years, which just feels like a long time from the onset of like announcing that you're coming. It's like 8 years later, we might have some more news for you guys. I'm like a decade almost. Like, is this crazy?
Well, and the North Carolina Department of Commerce agreed. So
well, I mean, what are you going to do?
I mean,
lose your Apple potential.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean,
But I mean, I think in one sense, so it's positive. It's not like Apple is like,
yeah, at least
we're
they
not
haven't
coming.
abandoned it. Yeah,
Yeah,
at
yeah,
least
yeah.
they're
It's just
asking
like, hey,
for a
we're not doing it.
delay
Yeah,
for
we're not doing
now.
it.
Yeah,
But there, I mean, there's a lot of projects that have been delayed
yeah,
over the years, and this is just one. I mean, I don't. They've never released a reason for the delay. I think everyone can just assume it's.
economic in nature.
Yeah,
probably.
I mean, like, do you really want to build a campus when like building costs are, you know, crazy high? So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but I think in general, like it's not surprising that Apple requested this, and I don't think anyone thinks, at least I don't think that Apple has decided not to come here. I think it's more or less it's just not their priority right now,
Yeah.
and so they're trying to kick the can down the road as much as possible. But when they do come, though, I mean, it's substantial. So they essentially agreed to hire 3,000 workers, build their own campus here, and you know, I mean, those were going to be good paying jobs.
Yeah.
Like definitely not low paying jobs. So
Yeah. Hopefully we will get more news on them coming, and it won't just be another
In 2
delay.
years.
Yeah, in 2 years
in 2
we'll hear
years
about
we'll
the
get
next delay.
more. Yeah, we'll get more news. The crazy thing is the amount of cash Apple has. Like their company's just flush with cash. They could just do it. Like, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's beside the point. So
It's wild.
um
Wild.
so the next couple stories I want to hit on are about some manufacturing projects. So this one here is a big deal. So a company called Vulcan Elements, manufacturer of rare earth magnets. Don't know a whole lot about rare earth magnets,
Yeah,
but
apparently they are.
I know rare earth metals are like a big deal right now.
Yeah. Well, apparently they're used for a lot of like electric cars, smartphone batteries, just
Defense
a
equipment.
lot of so it's like bombs and things like that, missiles. So I guess you know.
I mean,
it's good to have that. And
everything
right
has
now,
rare earth metals.
Yeah,
in it
yeah.
nowadays.
Right now, the
Your
biggest,
cars, everything.
the biggest fight for it looks to be like most of them are sourced in China. So
Yeah, yeah, and that's why they're creating the manufacturing elements here.
yeah,
But anyway, so this company is opening a factory in Johnston County. So we don't talk a lot about Benson. Benson's where this factory is going to be. We do talk a lot about Clayton. Clayton's in Johnston County.
yeah, which will be the biggest
And-
probably beneficiary to something
Yeah.
like this coming because
Yeah,
most
because of the
people,
housing.
there's just Clayton is more built up in recent years,
It
so
is.
it's like, you know, if you're gonna relocate to North Carolina for something, I feel like a lot of people probably aren't like dying to move to Benson,
Yeah.
but they'd be like, I can handle Clayton.
Yeah, for sure. And Garner's just north of
Yeah,
Benson
or
too.
Garner.
So,
Mhm.
you know, Garner kind of straddles that Wake County, Johnston County line. But anyway, this is a big deal because they're talking about employing 1,000 people with the average salary of $82,000, which
Yeah.
I mean that's like
Yeah.
Johnston County is pretty rural. So
Yeah.
I mean that's a big time. It's a
Mhm.
big time salary
Yeah.
for Johnston County. So anyway, it looks like jobs are expected to be created by 2029, and the construction site's expected to kick off within the next 12 months. But yeah, I mean, this type of investment in Johnston County is massive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Massive.
It's
So,
really cool. It's great for Johnston County has just been like exploding
It
over
has.
the last decade, and this is just like, I mean, I'm not surprised that somewhere chose that
No.
they chose Johnston County for it.
Well,
'cause
and
it's
you think
definitely
about
it's a good place.
Yeah, and you think about too the completion of like the southern loop of 540 and how that will allow, because to your point, not everybody who works in this factory is going to want to live
Yeah.
in Benson or could live in Benson. There's probably not enough housing there.
Yeah.
But that southern portion of 540 is going to allow people to live somewhere else because it'll
Right.
be completed by then.
Yeah, and it
Um,
won't take that long.
And it won't take that
commute
long.
in.
Yeah, it won't take that
Mhm.
long to get in there. So that'll be a really big deal. So another manufacturing plant coming into the Holly Springs. So Holly Springs has been
It's been crazy
hot lately,
with
pulling in some of these,
manufacturing
some of these
and
like life
big tech and
science
stuff. Yeah, it's been
manufacturers.
Really
So this company, how do we say this was? What did that?
So the most
Ip-
time we
ip-
spent
ips-
preparing for this was
Ipsomed-
trying to
Ipsom-
learn how to say this.
Ipsomed.
I think we said Ipsomed. Yeah, that's
Ipsomed.
what we
Yeah.
decided.
I don't know what they make.
Yeah.
I don't know what they manufacture. Oh,
like
right here,
liquid
injection
pharmaceuticals.
systems for
Yeah.
Okay, that's right, because some of the videos were showing like pumps for like
Yeah.
dialysis
Yeah.
machines.
Mhm.
But anyway,
It's medical equipment.
yeah, so they're investing $250 million on the first phase of a Holly Springs facility, and I like Holly Springs has landed like a lot of a lot of companies
Yeah.
lately.
Yeah, there's some big stuff coming because they had.
Genentech,
Yeah, Genentech was the
Fujifilm,
biggest one that was
Amgen,
announced.
like
yeah,
there's been some major
yeah, a lot of stuff on the
investments.
pharmaceutical manufacturing
Yeah.
side, and then obviously Fujifilm's campus was. I don't know, is it completed now? The Fujifilm.
Yeah, and so
campus.
that
Yeah.
and this is okay. So this is going to be okay. So
Not
that's
that
where.
far from 12 Oaks. Kind of the same area, honestly.
Yeah, it
is
was.
where the-
It's similar area as
Yeah.
the Fujifilm. But yeah, so I mean, Holly Springs has been on a roll lately, and this
Yes.
it doesn't have anything in here, I don't believe, about like salaries or anything along those lines. But it does say it looks like it's expected to open second half of 2027. I mean, it's $250 million investment. These types of like life science companies typically pay pretty well. So
Pretty exciting for Holly Springs.
yeah. All right, so moving on to actually here's something interesting. I was going to skip this, but I actually think this is fascinating. So, this was a report put out after, obviously through like looking through census data that Axios put out, but the fewest people moved in 2024 than have been on record. Like since the records were starting or since they started taking records in 1948, it was the fewest people to move in 2024.
That's crazy because thinking how much bigger our population is since 1948, and we've had the fewest people ever.
Yeah,
since they started recording it, which is wild.
Yeah, so 11% of people changed residences last year, and I'm assuming this obviously is not people buying, right? This is people buying and renting.
Yeah.
Like this is just mobility, Americans' mobility essentially. But that's down from around 14% a decade ago and 20% in the 1960s. And so people are starting to essentially what this is saying is people are starting to stay put where they are more often. And we've seen some of this year. I read, I forget where the article was, but they called it the golden handcuffs, and their philosophy was, and we saw this play out this year, but their philosophy was that there's people who have such a low mortgage payment because their rate is low, or maybe they bought their house, in 2005 or whatever, and so they're like their rate's low and just their mortgage payment's low in general, and they don't want to move to a new area, even if the job pays more than their current job, because they'll end up losing more money because of how expensive housing is.
The increased
and so,
income just goes straight into the mortgage.
And so they're calling it the golden handcuffs. You're very distracted by my phone, I can tell.
It's beeping.
It rang one time. One time. I'll put it on silent. But anyway, so they're calling it golden handcuffs, and we actually saw this play out a couple times this year with some clients who they had a job offer in the area. It was a good job offer. It was more money than they were making where they currently lived, but the payment difference between their current mortgage and the mortgage they would get here were so astronomically different that they decided to stay where they are in a lower paying job.
Yeah.
And I think that is when you see that number being the lowest recorded, that's what it is.
I think it's
the
so
housing
much,
costs.
Yeah, but I think it's a lot more than that too, because you just have a difference in people's lifestyle, especially from the 1940s, right? Like people are pushing off getting married, pushing off having kids. So like the things that typically maybe led to you moving in those kind of situations?
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're getting
Yeah.
married, so we're going to buy a house, or we're having another kid, we need to upsize. Like,
Yeah.
I feel
I mean,
like
the
less
average
of that
first-
is also happening.
National Association of Realtors put out their report. National, or the average for some home buyer is now 40,
Yeah, that's
which is
crazy.
really crazy.
Yeah.
Really crazy.
It's
But anyway,
crazy.
I thought this was interesting. Obviously, North Carolina, for those people who are moving, like North Carolina is still
Yeah.
top 2, top 3 recipient.
Yeah, you can kind of see on this graph, like, of
but-
the hot spots of where
Yeah.
people are moving to. So we're kind of like in the middle right there.
Yeah.
So, and the
But
Raleigh-Durham area being
yeah,
even
but when you
more
look at
so.
like the states that people are moving to, like North Carolina's number 2, number 3 on that list. It's Florida, it's Texas, and it's North Carolina. Those are the top recipients.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Yeah.
anyway,
And for those of you that are just joining us, we'd love to have you let us know where you're watching from. So feel free to drop that in the comments. We love seeing that. And if you have any questions about the Raleigh-Durham area, news in the area that don't pertain to what we're talking about right now, that's okay. You can drop them in the comments or even in the replay later.
yeah. So Zillow, what is Zillow projecting for October 2025 to October 2026? They kind of downgraded it some, which is fascinating. So Raleigh was above 1% growth, and now it's not. Now it's 0.7% that they're expecting over the next 12 months.
There's actually quite a big drop when you're only at 1 to begin with. To drop down to 0.7 is like, that's a big percentage drop for Zillow to change their mind on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a big drop, and so that's kind of fascinating. Durham still, and this is, one of the videos we have coming out is our 2026 housing market projections, and one of our projections is that Durham, the percentage of growth will outpace the percentage of Raleigh's growth. And Zillow's obviously projecting that, but I think in general, Durham's just more affordable than the Raleigh area. And I think that affordability is going to drive a little bit quicker price growth in that region than it will in Raleigh. So, but yeah. I'm a little intrigued that they downgraded Raleigh below the 1% mark, because I want to say Raleigh was like 1.1% or something like that.
Yeah.
And now it's below that. So,
Yeah.
a little bit of local housing data before we sign off. You've got, so this time of year is always really fascinating. I'm going to push it out a little bit, push it out 5 years. So new listings, like people always ask, like what happens over the holiday season or this time of year, and this happens, this cliff drop of people putting their homes on the market. This happens every single year. Sellers just don't want to list their homes over the holidays, and it makes sense.
Busy time for
and it
everybody,
makes sense.
you know.
And it's not just the new listings, like how many homes are starting to hit the market that change. It's also inventory in general. So this is how many homes for some. I mean this drop is substantial. Oh yeah, Cindy just pointed out that I'm blocking the thing.
It. There we go.
Yeah, I mean this drop right here is substantial. That's a couple hundred homes in Raleigh that essentially got pulled off the market for the holidays, and we'll see that continue to decline in December and then begin to work its way back in January. But it's very seasonal. The fascinating thing though is both Raleigh and Durham, as of November, are pretty significantly ahead of where we were the last normal, like inventory is completely improved.
Yeah.
And like completely normal in those regions. So that's a really big deal. I think we'll continue to see that.
Time in
but
forever.
I do think though, I still think, and this is just my prediction, but I still think the spring housing market is going to be really competitive this year, I think.
We'll see.
You don't think it is?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I think it'll be more competitive than the fall. I don't know that it's going to be super competitive though.
I think it's going to be.
Yeah. We'll see.
It has every year. Every year.
It always is in Cary. I don't know.
Well, yeah, but every year it's been competitive. and rates are going to be the lowest
Yeah.
this spring than they have been.
Yeah. If that
In a
that
really long
remains
time.
true, then I could see some competition gearing
Yeah.
up. So if you're thinking about moving in the next year, now is definitely a good time.
When you
as a
say now, you
buyer.
mean like in the next like 30 days?
Yes, yes, I do. Like take
You'll have less
advantage of the.
options. You'll have
Yeah,
less
you'll have less
options.
options.
You'll
But
have
if there's
less
something you
options.
like, it's definitely it's probably gonna be cheaper now than it will be if there's a bidding war on the house.
Oh,
So
yeah,
if you
I mean,
want no
for sure.
competition, then it's
Yeah.
probably not the worst time to give it a
For
try.
sure. Cool. Well, that's all I got tonight. Do you have
Yeah.
anything?
No, I don't. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, I think next time will be December 15th.
Yeah,
So-
and if you are looking to buy or sell in the area, we would love to help you out, and all of our contact info is below on the channel.
Yep, it is. All right. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good night.